Okay, so you ordered one extra hot fanning. No refunds. Hello everyone and welcome. Today I answer the question, can you beat Dark Souls 3 with only the Flame Fan Pyromancy? First things first, I have to make a character, and the obvious choice is Pyromancer, so I pick it. What, did you think I would do a aha, gotcha moment in the first 15 seconds? Nah. Maybe in the first 30 though, we'll see. I named her Pyra and made her aggressively red to show what the enemies will look like after I'm done with them. Upon spawning in, you might have noticed a little problem. That is not Flame Fan. So it is in fact not possible to beat Dark Souls 3 with only the Flame Fan Pyromancy. Well, what is an Unkindled to do in this situation? One option would be to play through the whole game at SL1 to collect the Pyromancy and then do the challenge in New Game Plus. But this isn't a press continue video, so instead, let's just do some off-screen trickery and my game crashed. Awesome. Okay, that was probably just a fluke. Let's try it again. Just copy and paste that value, and it crashed again. Cool. Third time's a charm, son of a... Okay, maybe it's just this area. Maybe the tutorial zone has some kind of extra layer not accounted for in this cheat engine table. I don't know. Let's just invoke the age-old challenge starts after the tutorial and find out. I take on Judex Gundyr with my ball-shaped ranged fan, and he's not really a problem. I was a bit worried about FP consumption because I can't reallocate my Estus, so I only have one blue to work with, which is why I actually decided to take the Hidden Blessing as my starting gift just in case I needed an extra boost. In the end though, it wasn't needed and he goes down. Now, let's try this again. Just paste that and it crashed again. In fact, this time it crashed so hard, I couldn't get the game to load and had to restart my computer, which, you know, is the last thing I want to do after downloading a file from a website with no less than 13 download buttons of varying shapes and sizes. I wasn't really happy with that start, so I made a second character, naming her Not Mithra, and chose the Firebombs as my gift. This time I use a different table, one that I'd actually used previously, and just like that, the fiery flame fan is mine. The reason I chose the firebombs this time though, well, one, I already learned that Gundyr had so little health it's probably fine, but more importantly, since there are 5 of them, I can also get the only appropriate fashion for this run. Now, you would think that everything is all good to go, right? Well, nah, it's never that easy. There are 2 other issues already. Wonder what they are? Here, let me give you a hint. Yep. I can't attune the spell. It's literally just not an option. That's actually why I wondered if going past the tutorial earlier would do anything, but I was wrong. Problem number 2 is that the requirements for the Pyromancy are 15 in Faith and Intelligence, and none of the classes have that to begin with. The Sorcerer and Cleric have 16 in their respective stats, but only 7 in the other. The Pyromancer starts with an impressive 14 in each, but similar to when I meet the real Desert Pyromancers, it's just not enough. I could use Cheat Engine to up my levels directly, that would be easy. Less easy would be figuring out how to change my attuned spell, but definitely still doable. Or I could just beat Gundyr normally, then level up and equip the spell. I'll let you guess which one I did. With him down, I have just enough souls for 2 levels, how convenient. Now, let's talk about this attack. It kinda sucks. It looks like it should sweep nearly all around me, but it's actually way more narrow, like a 90-degree cone in front of me. It also doesn't extend very far. Worse yet, it's unreasonably slow to come out. There are countless times in this run where I went to swing at an enemy first and they just hit me, canceling the attack because poise is a made up stat in this game. I can't even say it does a whole lot of damage, because it doesn't. But I can chain them together, so thanks game, I appreciate you trying. I do tree skip to grab an early Estus shard, which I forgot to use for a while, and at this point my game still occasionally froze, which coming off of less than 30 minutes ago needing to restart my computer didn't make me feel good. You thought dogs were annoying before. You ain't seen nothing yet. The best I can hope for is to just get behind an enemy to hit them. Oh, it's gonna be one of those runs, is it? This guy dropped some throwing knives, but honestly, I think I'm good on those. The rest of this zone is pretty normal, and by that I mean I died like 10 times because skill issue plus ratio plus this attack absolutely sucks. I honestly just kept running out of heals trying to fight things and not understanding the timing of this fan, so it got to the point where I was just running from things to try and safety bone out. Well, that's not exactly how I wanted to return to the bonfire, but I mean, it works I guess. Eventually, I got to Vort. Finally, a boss to test this thing out on. 115 damage, that's not great, like at all. I originally thought Vort was weak to fire, but apparently he isn't, so it's only... No, 115 is still garbo damage. Vort's been a bad boy, and he needs a spanking. Actually, editor, can we cut that out? I don't want the internet to think I'm into that. What do you mean, pay you more? Every encounter with dogs in this run is cursed, I swear. I have a few tasks to complete in the Undead settlement. First is learning that these cage boys have range attacks. How many people can say that they've died to this enemy, honestly? I know the drop down to the bonfire is around here somewhere. I hate this game. After getting Cornex 100% on the first try, I sent him the Firelink to be my dedicated flame increaser, then grab the nearby fire clutch ring. From here, I upgrade my flame once, then take on the Cursed Rod of Greatwood, who, as a tree, is weak to fire. I've never tried to damage these back blobs, but now is as good a time as any. Unfortunately, you can't, but that spanking seems to have excited him, as in phase 2 he takes me out, giving a whole new meaning to hard wood. This video is gonna get demonetized, isn't it? Those same blobs are actually exposed in phase 2, and after a good smack, I bust his balls for the kill. After riding the elevator up, I meet Sigurd, who is actually essential to this run, though I didn't know it at the time. He tells me he's thinking about how to handle the big fiery demon, but thinking isn't my strong suit, so I just run in hands ablazing. That's not very much damage. I'm sure that won't be an issue later. Together, we take out this beast, and from there, I fight my way through the abandoned town until I collect my prize at the top, Flynn's Ring. There is also the Chloranthy Ring at the bottom of this tower. Too bad my ankles are made out of fucking Ritz crackers. Second time, I just run by everything to make sure I have enough health to survive the tiny fall and pick it up. Well, hey there, Henri. It sure is nice to meet you. I hope nothing bad happens to you. A little further into the Road of Sacrifices, I meet Orbeck, who, contrary to Henri, I couldn't care less if something happened to him. As is tradition, I send him to Firelink and immediately break his stuff, then head over to the next boss, the Crystal Sage. Phase 1 is extremely easy. I just walk up and start beating the crap out of her with my fan. The second time she appeared, I got lucky, maybe? I'm not completely sure what happened. I got hit, which let me get a bit of stamina back, and I managed to stagger her so I could do even more damage. When phase 2 started, my initial thought was to just find the real one and go to town, but this attack is honestly too slow to safely do that. It didn't help that I was running on no Estus. The end of the fight could have gone either way. I took down all the clones to make sure I could attack uninterrupted, but I ran out of stamina and I forgot how fast her sword slash came out, so I almost went down. I also remembered from my one-shot video she can swing more than once, so I kinda spam rolled and was terrified she was gonna kill me, but when I saw purple, I thought it was alright and put an end to the stage. Oh hey, look! 2 crystal lizards here, right next to each other. What idiot would so confidently say in a YouTube video that there was only one? One thing that is nice about the fan is that it can pseudo-chain stagger humanoid enemies. Later NPCs seem to roll out of it after the 3rd or 4th hit, but these early games one kinda just gets stagger locked to death. Listen, I already think dogs are the worst enemies. Now you're telling me they studied on Planet Yardrat? You know, in all the times I've played this game, I don't think I've ever noticed this little gap in the railing, so that's neat. Anyway, I grab the bone shard, then make my way into the Cathedral. Hey, not so rough. You only paid for the basic plan. Yes, it includes smashing, I know. Longfinger Kirk showed up, but I politely turned him away as we both know Thickfinger Kirk. Serious question to all you Dark Souls 3 veterans. How the hell do you do Patch's questline? I've definitely gotten him to show up here before pretending to be Sigurd, but like, that was one time in the wiki? I don't know, I mean, I know I'm illiterate, but I don't feel like the steps are right. It says, and I quote, he will spawn once you open the main doors to the cathedral, up the elevator to the left of the boss room, reload the area, and then return if you've spoken to Sigurd after killing the fire demon in Undead Settlement. Well, I definitely spoke to Sigurd after the fire demon fight, and I opened the door. Maybe my problem was that I went to the side with the bedchamber first? Actually, yeah, that seems to be it. Once again, I was foiled by not reading, as like 4 lines down it says, only cross the rafters to the bedchamber after you have beaten the fire demon with Sigurd in the Undead Settlement and been tricked across the bridge in the Cathedral of the Deep. BRB, changing my name to Dumbwolf. Next up is the Deacons, and honestly, I was a bit worried about this fight. Not because they're hard, nah, they die in like a couple hits. It's hitting them that worried me. This attack had proven time and time again that the hitbox is smaller than I think it is, so I was worried about diving into a massive group of enemies with it. Fortunately, it wasn't that bad. I mean, sure, I still almost died, and dying to Deacons is only slightly worse than dying to someone like Pinwheel, but I mean, I didn't, and that's what matters. The fight was mostly just run in a big circle until the one I want to hit is at the back of the group, fan him a few times, then bounce. Repeat until the Deacons are lightly crispy. Now I spend every soul I got from that on a stupid key and hope Patches shows up. Fortunately, he did. You might think you locked me in here, but I wanted this. Upon returning to Firelink, he is now a vendor who sells Sigurd's armor. Except it's kind of expensive, and at this point I didn't realize that I was stupid and thought Patches stood me up, so thanks for the armor. Maybe we can patch things up in the next video. I then dropped that armor down a well, and let's be honest, this well is pretty thin. I feel like this would have landed on Sigurd and severely injured him. Also, wait. Sigurd is unkindled like us, right? If he died, he would have respawned. I mean, that's the whole thing with these games, the Curse of the Undead, right? So, he would have respawned without his armor? How come every time we die, we come back in our armor? Are armors also unkindled? Is that why they glow with embers when we're embered? I feel like I just stumbled upon a new Dark Souls 3 conspiracy, asking the hard-hitting questions. The only bigger one is, why aren't you subscribed yet? Jokes aside, I'm about to hit 100,000, and it would mean the world to me if you could click that subscribe button, because shortly before recording this video, I actually made the leap to full time. And it helps me and the channel out way more than you know. And if you're already subbed, then thanks. I do deeply appreciate it. Anyway, back to the video. But no, seriously, what's up with that armor thing? Dumb and Dumber here show me that, while I'm illiterate, I at least have a fundamental understanding of physics. I say hello to my cousin, then put out all the fires to open the way to the First Lord of Cinder. Here's the thing I learned about this fight. I'm absolutely terrible at it. It doesn't help that at some point there were 3 of them all trying to run me through with their swords at the same time, but I mean, can you really blame them? Seriously though, I tried doing the whole spacing and positioning thing, but 1, I'm really bad at it, and 2, this attack is so slow that they would frequently dodge away before I could hit them. Phase 1 I can at least rely on the Red-Eyed Watcher to distract them, but Phase 2 it's one-on-one, and his sword now burns, so I really don't want to be anywhere near him. At some point I worked out a strategy. In Phase 1, I would stay mostly in front of them as they finish combos. This would mean that they won't dodge and I can get a few hits in. Thankfully, this attack staggers. In Phase 2, the attack I was looking to bait was the big flip, as I could just run behind him and get a couple free hits in. Or any of his slide approaches. Again, I just ran away and got some free hits. There were other times, like when he ended a combo with a spin, but that was way more dangerous in Phase 2 because of the added fire hitbox being so large. Either way, without too much trouble, the Abyss Watchers watch their own Abyss approaching. Down in the Catacombs, I take this shortcut, beat up a skeleton in a hat, grab the resulting bone shard, say hi to Wally the Wall Lizard, briefly learn how to levitate and perform telekinesis at the same time, burn a bridge, be in awe that this skeleton's ankles aren't made of Ritz crackers, nearly get turned into a barbecue, notice my own ankles now have the resilience of a piece of stale bread, and finally grab the Witch's Ring to boost pyromancy damage. Apparently, this stacks with a Great Swamp Ring, which is neat. Too bad the next fight that doesn't really matter. Wolnir. I opened by shattering 1 bracelet pretty quickly. It only took 2 hits, which is weird because the other 2 took like 4 each. Don't know what that's all about, but I won't question it. After his defeat, his skull cup gives me the suck of my life and I wake up from that nightmare with the door to Hogwarts open. I think there's something behind me, but if I pretend it doesn't exist, it can't hurt me. Right? At this point, I was worried about my damage falling off, so I decided to collect a few large Titanite shards around the area while giving myself PTSD in the process. Sigurd here is taking a nice little nap by the fire, honestly looks really cozy. I went to say hello, and his response is to give me the Emit Force Miracle. Maybe he's trying to hint about an upcoming challenge run, who knows? You know, I never realized how down bad that knight is. He's just staring at a painting of Guinevere. None of us have ever done that. Right? I just want to highlight again how exquisitely bad this pyromancy is at handling dogs, especially if there's more than one. Sure hope there isn't a boss later that is a multi-enemy fight containing some variety of canine. After clearing my way up to the boss, I have a +5 Pyroflame, but there are some easy to grab shards in the Smouldering Lake. I bet JK wishes he had that crossbow for his DS2 Mega Archery run. AU Solaire goes down, granting me a few thousand souls, but more importantly an Undead Bone Shard. And after making my flame a +6, I thought I would try the old Demon King. Yeah, that's not very much damage. I'm pretty sure I didn't bring enough blue Estus to even handle that, so I'll be back for you. Next up is Pontiff Sullivan. I suck at this fight. This is the boss I struggled with most when I first played the game, outside of maybe Nameless King, but what's the surprise there? Not being able to parry him makes the fight way harder, and unfortunately L2 isn't an open-handed parry. Right now it would be combustion, so that's out of the question. At first, I thought I was truly going to need to get good and learn the boss's moveset in such a way that I'm essentially one of those no-hit, no-roll, no-sprint runners, but I'd like this video to come out sometime before 2035, so I need to find another way to deal with him. He can be staggered with his attack, which sounds like it should be a good thing, but it puts him too far away for the follow-up hits because of course it fucking does. Keep your items on your hotbar, kids. It'll save you a death. In the end, the strategy I came up with was pretty simple. I don't want to hug him because his combos are all fast and wide-reaching, so instead I play at a mid-distance looking to bait the slow overhead slam. This allows for 2 fan attacks, and he always tried to do the sidestep nothing personal kid follow-up, which is pretty easy to dodge and get away from to reset neutral. Phase 2 is even easier. As he summons his clone, there is enough time to get in 3 attacks, which conveniently is how many it takes to kill said clone. That's literally all of Phase 2, just wait for him to summon the clone and then kill it before it can do anything. The second time he summoned it, I actually missed the 3rd hit, so that was a bit hairy, but with a bit of luck on my side, I was able to avoid the onslaught and take it out quickly. The overhead slam is no longer safe to punish as he gets a follow-up combo after it, but I mean, why even look for other opportunities to attack when he summons a clone like every 4 seconds? Thankfully, Pontiff Sullivan goes down after only 5 attempts. I was worried, I thought I would be here for like 3 hours. Guys, why is foreshadowing appearing on the screen? As I sprint my way through Anor Londo version 2, I am struck with the realization that I am so happy in Dark Souls 1, arrows fly about as fast as I can run IRL, and that there are only 2 archers. I grab the nearby Acid Shard, then take on Aldrich. Now, Aldrich, despite setting himself on fire in Phase 2, is weak to fire, so this fight isn't terribly hard. It's also one of the few fights where having more stamina would have been helpful, as he literally kind of just sits there for half the fight. I know he takes more damage if you hit him in the Gwendolyn half, but I've been on the internet long enough to know I should be worried about the slimy tentacle half of his body. This run was honestly the most interactive I've ever been with his boss. He launched a lot of projectiles at me constantly, and it was actually engaging and fun to avoid them. Normally it's about 15 seconds of sandbag fight, but this time it was like 37 seconds. Either way, in the end, the Devourer of Gods is no match and falls before me. Down in the dungeon, I am invaded by Oliva, but upon seeing my imposing aura, just kinda nopes out of existence. Please, me too, I want off this crazy ride. Slowly making my way through the level, I grab the old cell key for later, then have this bullshit happen. I hate this game. Dark Souls 1 is so much better. They actually killed me again when I tried to call the elevator, but I'll be fair, that one's on me. Shouldn't have boxed myself in the corner like that. Oh hey, look, a reminder I'm not playing the worst Souls game. So I did do Sigurd's quest in case I needed his help in this fight. After all, I wasn't sure how much damage I would be doing. I was today years old when I found out Yhorm is completely immune to fire damage. I had never done a pyro only run, and I usually just default to is gimmick boss so gets a pass anyway, but I guess I'm really glad I did that questline, otherwise the run just straight up dies right here. So I make a quick jog over to free him from his cell, to which he awards me with a rock, then together we take on the fallen giant. Fortunately, even though my fan doesn't do any damage, it still pulls aggro, so my role in this fight is to just be like an annoying flightless mosquito. No, Sigurd, not like that! Due to my range, there were a couple times where I missed Yhorm. Yes, it's actually that bad that I missed the giant enemy, and Sigurd ate a couple machetes to the face, but after a couple minutes, a grave promise is kept as Yhorm falls. Okay, but that's gonna cost him extra. Time for the Dancer, who is honestly a weird fight for me. Most bosses have a rhythm of dodge, then hit. That's like the whole formula. You learn their moves, dodge, then hit them. But Dancer, she just kinda struts around the castle like she's hot stuff. Well, I mean, she will be hot stuff after I'm through with her, but I digress. Like, she's weirdly passive and you can just hit her first. Then she'll try to hit you and that's what starts the dodge retaliation cycle. Surely I'm not the only one that feels that she's a really passive boss, right? On the upside, her stagger doesn't push her 400 meters away so I can get free follow-up hits. Near the end of the fight, she does her little sword plunge AoE and I thought I would have enough time to get in and spank her cheeks for the win, but I was just too slow and nearly choke on her longsword. But after collecting myself, one more swat is all it took. I am the Dancer now. Heading through the Consumed King's Garden, grabbing all the tiny chunks I can find, I arrive at Oceiros, who I thought would be a rather easy fight, but I thought wrong. I hate this stupid dragon. I don't know what it was, but I just could not get his phase 1 moveset down. All like 4 moves, I know. I would mess up the timings or just not roll at all, which means when I did make it to phase 2, my Estus bottle was pretty much empty. It definitely didn't help that a lot of his moves cause him to take like a step back after he does them, so the fan would pretty consistently miss. Also, you know, this charge attack. Oceiros was definitely doable now, but I figured I would put a pin in him as I could still get stronger first. At this point in the recording, I took a break and worked on the script, and while doing so, I realized I had overlooked something that could be a great help: the Sage Ring. Now, normally these increases are so small, it's only by a few frames, and you know, maybe it's the same here, but I really want to believe I can see a difference. On screen, I'm going to show them side by side, but just eyeballing it, I feel like the extra 30 virtual dex makes a huge difference, especially when the attacks are chained together. Next, I head to Lothric Castle proper to pick up some upgrade materials, and here's a fun thing to show you that I'm a complete idiot. When I grabbed this undead bone shard, I made a mental note that the way forward was from the beginning of the bridge, so when I returned, I still jumped onto the wrong side. I mean, no wait, I just totally wanted to see if you could make this little jump. Yep, put that in instead, editor, thanks. Here's another fun thing: as I climb this ladder, I preemptively attack the hollow above me, but despite me spamming the punch button, he's just able to kick faster? Like, how is that fair? I noticed while rewatching the footage, he didn't fully flinch with my punch. Maybe I just got unlucky? This never would have happened on my luck only run. After fighting my way up the castle, I have enough chunks to max out my flame. To test it out, I take on Jacked Ornstein. Now, the truth is, I didn't intend to take this battle seriously. I only wanted to see what kind of damage I would do against him. But I ended up winning on my first attempt. It's so weird, I remember struggling way more with him on normal playthroughs. Have I finally gotten good? Nah, it must have been my 7 luck coming in clutch. There are actually a lot of openings in this fight. In phase 1, anytime he does a huge overhead slam with either the axe or shield, there is enough time for a fan. In particular, his 3-hit combo where he does 2 horizontal slashes and ends with a vertical one. You don't even have to dodge if you're positioned right, you can just strafe left and he'll miss you, giving you ample time to fan his flames. That works in phase 2 as well, but what apparently doesn't is the normal overhead slam. He can combo extend it into a shield bash, which I did not know, causing me to panic and try and roll away. I'll be honest, I have no clue how I dodged his uppercut, but I did and tried to burst him down. Unfortunately, he jumped back out of the combo swings and I nearly ate it. Honestly, I feel like I was a frame away from dying here. Sage Ring putting in work. Then, a few seconds later, I nearly walked backwards into the dragon laser beams. He did the big slam but didn't extend it, and I committed to an attack I probably shouldn't have, but it paid off. I take it back, this is absolutely the luck only run. I decided since I was embered up, I would go give Oceiros another shot. I made sure to reallocate my Estus because honestly, I was bringing too many blues to these encounters, but you can never be too prepared. Yeah, okay game. I'm sure some of you out there will say, nah Doom, that was a skill issue, shouldn't have been that close to him. Alright, how about this? Bite to charge true combo for nearly all of my health. I cannot put into words how much I hate this stupid dragon. So, to preserve my sanity, I decided to delay him. Again. In the Grand Archives, I thought I would outsmart these thralls, but it turns out I was the one who was outsmarted. That death happened because of the sage, so I had a brilliant idea. What if I never hit the sage so she never teleported? Nah, she teleports anyway. Cool, thanks game. This time I just sprint by everything, and at long last, up the stairs in the highest room of the tallest tower, my twin princes await their rescue. Did I say rescue? I meant fiery death. For me. The twin princes are such a good fight. I was struggling here with taking too much damage, so I ended up swapping the fire clutch ring for the great swamp one. I'm doing a total of 1 less damage per attack, but taking 10% less damage, so yeah, that was definitely a smart choice. At one point, Lorien channeled his inner Ishin and said hesitation is defeat. Yep, I died after consuming the ember, but before it could heal me. Awesome. Okay, let's talk strategy. Phase 1 is pretty easy, there are a lot of windows to hit him. The main ones are after his little forward poke, after the 2 swipe combo, his turnaround swing that he does when you're behind him, the fire wave, and the teleportation to overhead slam. There are actually more than that, but those are the ones I focused on, otherwise I would have to worry more about stamina management. With good positioning, it's even possible to get more than one swing in during the fire wave or slam attack. In phase 2, things get a bit tricky. First, I stopped attacking after his big slam. I'm pretty sure it's the same hitbox, just with Lothric's added magic attack, but I kept getting clipped by it, and he has a follow-up swing if you're close to him anyway, so I decided I would just play defensively and not approach. Other than that, the strategy is basically the same. The problem comes with this attack's range. It's extremely hard to hit Lothric while he's on Lorien's back. The best time I found was when he does that little turnaround slash. Because of the way he moves, if you dodge through his left side, you'll be right behind him, and that usually let me hit both of them. On a semi-decent attempt, my game actually froze. Or so I thought, but what really happened was it lagged super hard, I guess, and I had alt-tabbed to write notes thinking the game would fully crash, but nah, it came back, and in my haste to regain control, I accidentally punched the boss, so I had to bone out. Thanks Dark Souls 3, I appreciate it. On the winning attempt, Lorien baited me so hard that it hurt. Lothric was one hit away, and I landed what I thought was the killing blow. But no, it was just Lorien staggering. When I realized, I went for a follow-up swing, but it missed Lothric, and I went into full panic mode thinking that this is it. This is how I choke, because that's how these games go. Thankfully though, that didn't happen, and I fanned the twins one last time. With all lords sat upon their thrones, I am able to access the killing of the first flame. Just for fun, I wanted to see the damage I could do against the Soul of Cinder. Yeah, that's not a lot. I'll just come back for him later. Better for the narrative that way anyway. Yep, definitely not running away because I'm scared. In the main game, there are only 2 options for bosses, the old Demon King and Wannabe Seath, so I figured I might as well start the DLC. I make my way to Sister Friede and figured since I was embered, instead of risking my life running through the township, I would just fight Gravetender first. Well okay, I'll go fuck myself then. This happened more than once. Eventually, I made it to the bottom and take on the Gravetender. Oh boy, dogs, my favorite. They take 2 hits each, which isn't terrible, and they seem to have different programming than the god-awful base game dogs as they do this long leap which positions them perfectly for my fan. The Gravetender himself kinda sucks. He's able to shield my attacks, and by that I mean he can attack through them because he's holding his shield. Anytime I do stagger him, I can only get 1 extra fan off before he rolls out of the combo. Then of course I have to address the elephant-sized wolf in the room, that he summons a partner halfway through. The good news is that when he summons, he's completely open to being hit. The bad news is, he summoned a partner. I didn't do enough damage to kill him before the fight becomes 2-on-1. Here's something I didn't know until this run. Gravetender has sorceries? What? Comment down below if you knew that because I actually had no idea. The strat is simple. When the fight starts, run wide around the arena to try and take out 1 or 2 of the backup wolves. Once they're cleared out, try to bait Gravetender into doing any attack, then punish to break his stance and get in 1 free hit. Eventually, he summons for phase 2, which as I said, is free damage. Then you have to act like it's ONS and try and keep them separated. When Gravetender has the staff out, run up and get a couple hits in. He only has Soul Arrow and Snap Freeze, both of these are easy to avoid and slow enough to hit him. Once he is dead, it's time to focus on the wolf. I found the best chances to attack are after he does the chain rush combo and the head uppercut one. Just dodge with the attack and you should be in position to hit him afterwards, but honestly, I got lucky on my winning attempt. I managed to hit his head just before he phase transitioned, which apparently staggers him and allowed me to get in some serious damage. Then he committed to his phase transition, which allowed for more damage, and all of my tries he always started phase 2 with the ice breath, so even more damage, and in this case another head hit to stagger, letting me win the fight. That honestly could not have gone any better. Since I'm embered again, Oceiros? Nope. Maybe my extra levels will help with the old Demon King. Well, that's not a lot, so I think I'll go do something more productive. So I go around the game world grabbing every remaining Bone Shard and Estus Flash Shard that I can find until they're maxed out. I return to Ariandel, and for the first time in a long time, I fight this Corvian Knight. Honestly, not that bad. I don't know what I was worried about. The only interesting thing that happened was when I took on Wilhelm. He cast Vow of Silence, so that sucks. I literally have to run around until I can cast again. Wait, her name is Friede? Lore buffs in the chat, why did he refer to her like that? After a short farming session to get rid of my souls, it's time to take on Friede. Now this boss is hard, so I'm going to go in prepared. Well, that was easy. Okay, jokes aside, phase 1 actually is really easy. She doesn't have the same player attribute where she can dodge roll, but she will stagger after each hit. Meaning, if I had enough endurance, I could literally chain stagger her to death with this attack. My issue, and this has always been my issue, is phase 2. I'm just weirdly bad at dealing with both of them at the same time. I'm honestly not sure why, just a skill issue I suppose. I gave her a couple tries, but decided I just wasn't feeling up to it right now, so I decided to double back and handle the old Demon King. Wow, my damage hasn't increased at all. Okay, well, guess I'll just deal with it. This fight isn't hard, it's just really long at such low damage. Thankfully, there are plenty of windows to attack. In phase 1, it's pretty easy to just dodge an attack, swing once, then dodge his follow-up combustion. The biggest issue is just making sure not to run out of stamina. He can spit fire and that'll hurt, but again, just always being in the mindset of attacking once, then reacting to what he does. In phase 2, the fight starts to drag out even more. If he summons the Ring of Lava, I just back off and wait. While increasing the time it takes overall, he's much more likely to either spit lava at you, which you can just run under and hit him, or do his hammer drag, to which you just run alongside him and hit him. When he summons meteors, well, that's just free damage. And of course, when he explodes, well, that's the fight over. It took about 10.5 minutes, but I prove I am the superior firebender. At this point, I had a couple of options. I could either go back to Oceiros, the master of BS hitboxes, fight Soul of Cinder, throw myself at Friede, or start the Dreg Heap. In the end, I figured I might as well get the stupid dragon out of the way as he was blocking 3 other base game bosses. Halfway there, I realized I had forgotten to reallocate my Estus as I had put the game down for a couple of days, but I figured why not just consider it a warm-up. I mean, I'm totally just that good. Seriously, why is it that anytime we walk away from a fight, we come back stronger like some kind of off-brand Saiyan? Oh well, I won't complain. I grab the Path of the Dragon emote and head to the back of the room to find the Untended Graves. Champion Gundyr went really well on the first try. I managed to stance break him just before phase 2 and land some juicy counter hits. Unfortunately, something kinda strange happened. He knocked me down and I was watching him to see when I needed to roll out of the way, but despite hitting the roll button, my character just took the halberd uppercut to the face? Second try goes much better. The attacks I was looking for were either of the jumping ones, as they had a long enough window to punish, as well as the phase 2 charge. My absolute favorite attack to punish, however, is his 2 pokes into a slam. There's just enough time for me to get one off, and it feels like I'm weaving my attacks into his combo, and that is the best way to play these games in my opinion. Honestly, the hardest part of this fight is making sure you're close enough after a combo to hit him, as he frequently moves far away with his and doesn't give a lot of time to reposition. Eventually though, the Champion 2 falls to my Flaming Fan. With his souls, I level Faith and into 30. Technically, they could go to 40 as that is the first soft cap, but honestly, I'm not going to be getting too much more damage out of this thing, so I'll just focus on health, attunement, and endurance going forward. I grab the Coiled Sword Fragment, the Firekeeper's Eyes, offer them as the world's creepiest present to the Firekeeper, then go meditate. Okay, like, serious talk? How does this work? I mean, other times, From Software just stuffs us in a coffin and says don't question it, but this time we teleport? Are we astral projecting? Does a dragon come pick us up while we take a nap? Like, how do we get here? Whatever, too much thinking. Boss time. Ancient Wyvern. Oh no. Oh no. On my first try, I brought 14 blue and 1 regular S's to the fight, but I quickly lost all my health just figuring out the best time to attack, so I decided to retreat. I did the math and didn't actually need 14 of them, so I switched to 11 blue and 4 regular. This actually was also too many blue, but it was meant to compensate for any mistakes I made. So first, don't do this. It's not worth it. Just do the plunge attack gimmick. It's way cooler and way faster. I only did it because, you know, plunging attack isn't a flame fan. So let's talk strategy. First, you run to the left of where the Wyvern lands, then bait his fire breath. That's literally it. Once he does that attack, run up and swing 1 to 3 times depending on how slow you are. Then just back off. Since you were close, he'll either do a foot stomp, a side-to-side fire breath, fly up and breathe fire down, or do a bite. Both of his stomps are a complete non-issue, same with the flying fire down. You'll already be out of range by the time he even starts the attack. His side fire breath, you can just roll through his head, or if you're fast enough, you can get a cheeky fan in. The only thing to actually watch out for is the bite. It's very slow and telegraphed, but it's basically the only attack that has a chance of hitting you. He also has a small chance of doing the tail swipe, despite you never going behind him. It's so rare it's hardly worth mentioning, but also, I mean, you're not behind him, it's not going to hit you at all. I actually took the Sage Ring off in this attempt because of how long the Fire Breath is, replacing it with Lloyd's Sword Ring. But at some point I had like 10 missing health and I didn't want to use a heal, so I replaced it with a Fire Clutch Ring, which did boost my damage a bit. Again, don't do this. This is a dumb way to fight this boss, it's just not worth it. But after 15 short minutes, this bad dragon is put in the ground. On my way to the cooler Gwyn, I wanted to point something out. In my previous Dark Souls 3 video, someone told me you can run up these rocks to the left of the stone dragons. That's a game changer. Thank you, random person on the internet. I will cherish this information forever. Time for the Nameless King. Okay, well, first is the King of Storms, but that's fine. As with any multi-health boss bar, I way overcompensate how many blue I'll need and go in with less than optimal heals. The main attack I'm looking to bait is when he breathes fire. It lasts an incredibly long time, and as long as I'm close enough, it allows for multiple hits. There are other times where his head is down, like after the king electrifies the ground, or clouds, but I seem to have trouble dodging the shockwave and got hit by it all 3 times that he did it, so I couldn't capitalize. Unfortunately, I didn't get a stagger until the very end, but that's fine. On to the main event. The Nameless King is kind of a pushover. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's because I can actually take damage this time, but like, he could hardly touch me. Well, except for of course the time I almost choked, but we don't talk about that. As far as strategy goes, I kind of didn't have one. I know the king can sometimes extend his combos, so all I did was try to position myself behind him constantly to force him to slowly turn to face me, and then just closely watch him until I was confident his combo was over. Sorry, I wish I could give better details, but it was literally just watch for punish windows and capitalize. The Nameless King falls on the first try. Okay, back to Friede. Like before, phase 1 is a complete joke. There are several opportunities, but the best is when she does her little invisible jump. As long as you can tell where she lands, it's actually just free damage. She is the specific reason I leveled in Faith more since last time, as before she was able to survive with just a sliver of health. Now though, that doesn't happen. Phase 2, well, I think I finally figured out my issue. I know you're supposed to separate them, but my biggest problem was even though Ariandel does chase me around with his bowl, Friede stays pretty consistently in the center of the arena and her Ice Wave has enough range to hit the wall from there. I'm sure that this is an intentional design choice to make the boss harder, as otherwise she's incredibly passive, but it does make it kinda awkward to hit Papa Pots. Regardless, I just keep looking over my shoulder and eventually phase 3 starts. Remember that invisible jump thing from phase 1? Yeah. It's also possible to outspace her glowing scythe attack and then you can just sprint in for a few free hits. I also think it's safe after she does the big jump that's not the Black Flame variant, but that attack is pretty rare for me so I didn't get to fully test it. Other than that though, it's cardio day. Just keep running laps around the arena until there's an opening. Yeah, I know if I really wanted to I could find other opportunities to hit her, but like, I leveled in this run. I can actually play smart, and just like that, Friede falls. Nothing happens in the Dreg Heap except I remember where that stupid shortcut is finally, thank Gwen, then the Demon Princes. Well, that's a problem. Okay, time to do some math. My build, which admittedly is not optimized, but roll with it, currently does 60 damage a swing. The Demon from Below and Pain each have 7,062 health, and they both must die for the fight to finish, so practically that is 14,124 health. Flame Fan costs 9 FP to use, and my current total FP is 198, meaning I can swing it 22 times before needing to drink a blue Estus. So if all 15 of my Estises are blue, then that would give me 16 mana bars, including the starting one before drinking at all. At 22 swings a mana bar times 60 for the amount of damage, that is a total of 21,120. Awesome, the math checks out. Except it doesn't, because that does not include the Demon Prince, who has an additional 7,045 health, bringing the total to 21,169. Mathematically speaking, it is impossible for my current build to defeat this boss. With one exception. I counted the phase 1 bosses separately, but in theory, if they stay together, one attack can hit both. So let's just assume every attack hits both. That would reduce the HP total across both phases to 14,107. Definitely within range, except that too is excluding a few things. First, in this vacuum of a calculation, let's min-max the amount of Estus. At 60 damage a swing, I would only need to hit them a total of 236 times rounded up. Divide that by 22 and it comes out to just under 11 mana bars, so 10 blue Estus. Great, I have 5 heals to back me up. That should work, except it still doesn't. Disregarding the fact that calculations assumes that every single hit lands on both bosses in phase 1, which is just insanely impractical, the Demon Prince gets a buff to his fire resistance, which was already sky high. In phase 1, they have 78% fire absorption. It's 90 in phase 2. That is an absolutely insane amount of fire resistance. Now, I'll be real honest here, I don't know the exact formula for how damage is calculated, but let's just assume that 78 fire absorption means that only 22% of my damage is going through, then extrapolate from there. If 60 damage is equal to 22%, then using proportions, we can work out that at no fire absorption, it would be 272.72 damage. So let's just round down to 272. Since 90% of the fire damage is absorbed, we can just say that in phase 2, I would be doing 27 damage a swing. Yeah, no, that's not a good time. 27 damage times 22 per mana bar times 16 mana bars is 9,504. Cool, Demon Prince is technically doable. But you know, what about phase 1? The answer is no. Under these current conditions, it's just impossible. To make this easier on myself, currently we can swing a total of 352 times. That means any calculation for number of hits has to come in under that number, hard stop. At 40 int and faith, in the perfect scenario of hitting both bosses in phase 1 and never missing a swing, the math comes to be 99 swings in phase 1 and 221 in phase 2, totaling 320. Mathematically possible, but again, perfect scenario. And just to be clear, 320 swings equates to 14.5 mana flasks. And since I can't have half a blue Estus, literally no margin for error. I also tested at 99 int in faith, where the damage jumps up to 89 in phase 1, which is not a huge increase, but it comes out to 80 swings in phase 1 and 177 in phase 2, totaling 257 swings or 12 mana bars. So 3 regular Estus as my emergency backup. Really looking up for old not Mithra. I just really want to drive this home. Let's assume I have 99 in int, faith, and attunement. 99 attunement would give me 450 FP. At plus 10, the Ashen Estus Flask restores 200 FP. Now, I did not test what the optimal setup would be. For example, it would probably be more beneficial to take off a ring as the damage increase is so small and equip the Dustcrown ring so Flame Fan costs less, and or the Ashen Estus Flask ring for more FP recovery, but let's just roll with it. In the practical scenario that I do not hit both bosses at the same time in phase 1 and never miss a swing, is it possible to win this fight? And if so, how slim is the margin for error? 15 blue Estus at 200 FP recovery each would total 3000 FP, then add the initial 450 from the starting mana bar for a total of 3450 FP. At 9 FP per swing, that means I can swing a total of 383 times. As discussed in phase 1, the boss takes 89 damage a swing, and it would take 80 swings to kill one of them, so just double that to 160. Then add the additional 177 required for phase 2, and that total comes out to be 337 swings. 46. I'd be able to miss this boss 46 times at 99 in the relevant stats before it became mathematically impossible to win. Yeah, I think I'm good. I'm not opposed to the idea of giving this the old college try, but I'm not going to grind to 99 in 3 different stats. Technically, I could use Cheat Engine to just give myself those stats. I mean, that's how I tested after all, but assuming I did manage to win, I wouldn't want to carry on that way. I just have to put them back to the correct number, and honestly, I'm good with not finishing this DLC with the Flame Fan. Maybe one day I'll make a mini challenge out of it, but today is not that day. Also, yes, I am aware I could summon Gale to help. He'd actually do damage and I could hold aggro, but nah, I'm still good. It's all fine. Time to take on the Soul of Cinder. Things I learned about this fight? He can heal? My first attempt ended rather poorly because I kind of forgot I was poisoned. Oops. Let's go over what I do and don't want to happen in each phase. For Short Sword, I'm specifically looking for the large overhead slam attack. This provides ample time to get a punish in. Equally okay are pretty much any of the attacks where he charges fire on his sword. There are a handful of them, but as far as I can tell, all of them are punishable. For staff form, literally every attack is great, especially the Soul Stream because you can get behind him and just wail into him, very likely causing a stance break. The only thing I don't want to happen is if he casts Homing Soul Mass, as it would cause me to need to play more defensively. Pike phase, I'm mostly looking for any fiery thrust or the big spin attack. What I don't want him to do here is heal. Pyromancy phase? Well, we just don't engage in Pyromancy phase. If you're close enough, you could run in and hit him once or twice while he's casting Power Within, but seriously, just run away and wait for it to pass. Following these rules, it's pretty easy to get him to phase 2 when he becomes Gwyn. A semi-risky punish is after he leaps. I say that because in my experience, he always went for the 5-hit death combo afterwards, so if you were too slow, you might eat that. What I mostly did was punish any of the lightning attacks, either rolling into him for the direct ones and swinging once, or if it was the variant that he throws it in the sky, I would run in and hit him a couple times then roll away. There definitely are chances to hit him when he's doing melee attacks, but depending on his follow-up, it may or may not be safe. At one point, I staggered him after he shot lightning at the sky. I wanted to stay close to punish, but the lightning hit me, and with no heals left, I was getting scared. But then I remembered. The fire burns within me. I ambered up, ready to risk it all. I thought I was safe after he did a short-range jump, but I was wrong and took a needless hit. He lunges forward, another opportunity I thought, but alas, I felt his hot steel across my face. Shortly after, as if to add insult to injury, he kicks me, telling me I'm not even worth his blade, that I am beneath him. But as his fire rages on, mine is calm. Patience is key, and as he hurls a lightning bolt at me, I dive through it and fan out the last cinders of his smoldering life. Thank you everyone for watching, and an extra special thanks to my patrons. Stay beautiful, y'all. If you're watching this on YouTube and want to see more while supporting the channel directly, consider subscribing to my Patreon because the next video is already up there ready for your viewing pleasure. But until next time, my friends, don't you dare go hollow.